Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Changes by David Bowie. This is the first David Bowie reaction on the channel. This was also the second place winner on the poll for David Bowie songs over on Patreon and on YouTube for channel members. First place was Space Oddity. I have not done that reaction yet, and it is because I kind of already know that song. I don't own any recordings of it, but I've definitely heard it. It's a really cool song. So I think I'm going to save it for a deep dive, where I'll really dig in and talk about the chord structure and how it was composed. So for today, we're sticking with the second place winner, Changes. And again, what exactly are we doing with all of this music? I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we dive into all the little details about it, how it was composed, the instrumentation, maybe some music theory and form analysis, perhaps some instrument demos, and of course, how do we relate to this music? Why do we like it so much? Or maybe why do we not like it so much? Okay. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We also have some new fun series on Patreon and for channel members, such as on Wednesdays, I am releasing reactions to the Beatles. We're doing the whole discography, and my daughter is doing that with me. She's a big Beatles fan, so the series is my daughter introduces me to the music of the Beatles. And then, of course, we have Full Album Fridays, where I go through a full album one track at a time. But please feel free to join us however you want to join in on this music community. It's all welcomed. So no more delay for now. Let's listen. Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah. Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Change.
Okay. Did he just say turn and face the strange? Okay. All right. Well, this is different. So different from what exactly? So I am a little bit familiar with David Bowie, but it's kind of in a weird way. So I know him through the soundtrack to the movie The Labyrinth. That came out in like 85, 86, somewhere in there. So I was a little kid and I loved that movie and I loved that soundtrack. And I know he didn't write all of it, but the songs that he did on it, I really loved. I had the cassette tape for it and played it on my little Walkman. It was awesome. So, that is sort of the extent of how I know Bowie. There are a few of his songs, such as Space Oddity. What's the other one that's really famous? I can't remember. So I don't know a lot of his non-Labyrinth works, his music. So considering that this is a person that is sort of a childhood musical hero for me, this is long overdue, getting to know the rest of his music. It's almost kind of ridiculous. So here I am. Okay, what do I think? So I already, like I said, I already know Space Oddity, but not like super, super well. I've just listened to it a little bit over the years, here and there. So it is also a little creative, a little unique, sometimes a little odd, hence the oddity. This song, though, it seems like it's almost from a different artist, but I recognize his voice for sure. So when I heard that singing voice, I'm like, okay, from my childhood, I recognize his voice. I don't know if I've heard this song before. It doesn't sound familiar. And so let's talk about that intro, shall we? Okay. Excited about hearing the strings, but what in the world was that chord progression? It sort of worked its way up stepwise a little bit and then transformed into something else. The string work in the background sort of reminds me of ELO, which I don't mind at all. But as for the rest of it, I don't know, there's sort of this funky aspect to it. But then it changed again for this main chorus. I just feel like he has a lot of different styles and he's just not afraid to use any of them. So he just throws them all in the mix here. I hear lots of different influences and styles. But at the same time, this is 1972 is when this came out. So he was the influence to many after him. Okay, let's back this up so we can hear this main chorus, as strange as it may be. Here we go.
How the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. Ooh, yeah. I watch the ripples change the size, but never leave the stream of warm and permanent sand. So the days float through my eyes, but still the days seem the same. And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes.
Okay. I'll have to check out the lyrics here and maybe I want to finish the song and just sort of get the message from it just through the music itself first. I tend to hear the music first and then lyrics. I'm catching on to some of them. I just will go back and confirm the rest that I may be missing. There's just a lot going on musically and instrumentally here. One thing I remembered though, I was told one thing going into this song, and that is that Rick Wakeman is on the piano. And I noticed the piano line. There was a cool octave descending sort of chromatic line at one point. And I was like, oh, that's right. The piano, Rick Wakeman. So I've done some of Rick Wakeman's music in reactions here on the channel recently, including the first part of his Journey to the Center of the Earth. So, but of course I know his other works and the bands that he's associated with, of course, but I didn't know that he worked with Bowie. That's really cool. And I love the piano line in this. I love it. So this song still is really topsy-turvy. It's very strange. It has many changes in it. Ah, okay. So everything comes full circle here. It's a cool song though. It's got that funky sound to it, but then there's sort of like this crooner drama da, 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 to it, you know? And and maybe even a little Motown. There's something about the percussion and the bum, 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 you know, with that awesome piano line. And then I'm also just soaking up his voice. So yeah, he uses a lot of different styles, and that includes his singing style. Interesting. It's like we've got 3 or 4 different singers in this song. And so this is 72 again. Like how old would he be? He sounds so mature. The voice does. And the way he handles the vibrato, it's a little relaxed, a little slower, wider vibrato. Very interesting approach. Okay, let's continue on. We're back to the chorus, I think.
Changes. tell them to grow up out of it. Changes.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. Where's the shame you've left us up to our next event? Time may change me. You can't twist time. Strange fascination fascinating me. Our changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Changes.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. Ooh, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. Pretty soon now you're gonna get older. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a unique experience. And sort of interesting, again, for me, because I do know his voice and a little bit of his style just from the soundtrack from the movie The Labyrinth. And I have heard Space Oddity before, so I guess this makes sense. Where does this fall in his discography with Space Oddity, though? I'm not sure. And this is 72, so when was his first album? There's so much for me to learn here. So if you know these things, put it in the comments. I definitely want to know more as we go. But for now, did I hear some mention in there about sort of older generations, younger generations? I don't know. So is it society changing? Don't know yet. We'll get there. But for now, I want to comment on the ending. Got a little jazzy there. A little sort of seductive. And honestly, there's something sort of seductive about David Bowie in general. He just sort of has this quality, this sensual quality to him. But then there's also this lighthearted version, and then also a sort of darker, more serious version. Then there's also like this really super extroverted version of him. And I feel like this song embodied almost all of those. Really interesting. I enjoyed how the orchestra hits, the drum and I think guitars were like in line with the lyrics. That was really cool. Although it did sort of make it harder for me to focus on what the lyrics were in those moments because that was happening. My mind just automatically hears the instruments first. So, you know what? I think it's time. Let's look at the lyrics. And again, it's not that they're less important. It's just what my brain goes to. So, still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild. A million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made. It seemed the taste was not so sweet, so I turned myself to face me. It's interesting. We're talking about how he has these different facets of him, and he's talking about facing himself. But I've never caught a glimpse how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Okay. So is it about authenticity or facing one's actual self, like self-awareness? Okay. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Yep, that's what he said. Changes. Don't want to be a richer man. Turn and face the strange. There's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. That's kind of deep. All right. Okay, I watch the ripples change their size. Oh, that's interesting. Like how fate, throw a pebble into the lake or the pond and see the ripples. But never leave the stream of warm impermanence. And so the days float through my eyes. But still the days seem the same. So time goes on. And these children that you spit on, that's right, I heard that, as they try to change their worlds, that's where I was thinking generational things, are immune to your consultations. So they're not listening. They're quite aware of what they're going through. They don't need to be told what to do or what to think, I guess. Turn and face the strange. Don't tell them to grow up and out of it. Where's your shame? You've left us up to our necks in it. Time may change me, but you can't trace time. So you can't go back. Can't change the past. You can only look forward and decide who you're going to be. All right. Strange fascinations fascinate me. Okay. Changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Turn and face the strange. Oh, look out, you rock and rollers. Pretty soon now you're going to get older. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time. He had to repeat it there at the end. Okay. Boy, there could be a lot in this. Well, I definitely think it's a little bit autobiographical. Talking about the rock and roller, sort of getting judged. And I know that he was just not afraid to be unique. That's kind of my guess. I mean, I've seen photos of him. And he does. Oh, yeah, in those photos, he does have different, like really different styles. And not necessarily like over the decades. Like I think it changed very quickly, like from album to album, maybe. But this is interesting. So it's about learning lessons, maybe, but also having confidence in your youthfulness. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's much room for compromise here. It sounds like this is from the point of view of a very young person who maybe has kind of had it with the older generations of their time. So yeah, maybe he's just really trying to push or break through boundaries here. And that could be both in art or in society and politics. And those two things tend to sort of go along with one another, change through time with one another, because they influence one another. All right. The music itself. It just seems very eclectic. So just a lot of different things thrown together. It's really entertaining. All right, what were some of the things that stood out? Let's go back to the beginning and hear that awesome intro again. It's lovely. Except then what? Changes. And yet again. Okay, and where did we settle? Yeah, that's not where I thought it was going. It's a little sassier than I was expecting. It sounded like it was going to be more drama. And then we got sort of the funky piano part in there, which I love, by Mr. Wakeman. So I like the contrast in this piece as well, like between the sustaining strings, the lusciousness of that sound, and then the dryness of the piano line and the percussion. So the sound of the drums is really, really dry, secco. That's the musical term that we put in musical compositions, classical music compositions, to play notes in that style, just very short. And the strings have little moments where they're in the spotlight, but they're still very much in the background. I'm just trying to figure out like what that might represent. It might not be anything, but I think it's more important than that. So maybe the strings are sort of like the continuity of time. And then all the different sections in the song represent how things change over time. And sometimes there can be some quick changes depending on what's happening in the world. But I was thrown by the intro, and then we land in this. Let's keep going. Yeah, I love that little crescendo and then subito piano
And my
there.
time was running wild, a million dead-end streets. And
So
every time I thought I got
it is more
made,
dramatic
it
here,
seemed the
but
taste was not so sweet.
it's still sort of not completely a happy tale. So the intro was kind of wacky. Then the funky section there right after that was sort of shocking, and now we're like, and it was like more of sort of a minor jazzy kind of key, but now we're more straightforward. And it's happening so fast. Okay. We stay here for a while, I think. Let's just keep going again.
So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others
Seems so
see
sweet,
they
but
are.
with the other
I'm
stuff
too
in
fast
front of
to
it,
take
no, you
that
can't trust it.
Changes.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man.
Okay, and so now we have that awesome piano descending line. Here, let me turn my keyboard on and see if I can figure this out. It's just a downward scale, but there's just something about it that has a lot of color to it. And I feel like we're purposely being misled, because the song, it's so wacky, but we're talking about heavy duty stuff like in society or within a person, and yet at the same time it's kind of like, you know, a little bit more upbeat and seemingly happy, but it's not. But I think if that happiness, that pseudo happiness wasn't there, the song would kind of be more depressive, and it's more about being self-aware and not getting too tied up in any one form or movement in time. Am I close at all? I don't know if that's right. I don't know. Okay. I love that little string transition. Da 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 da. Let's hear that again.
I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the more crooner sort of part here.
How the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to
Yeah,
take that.
that little line. Let's see if that's what it is.
How the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast
Yeah.
to take that test. Changes.
Yeah, and then it starts in the G string. Yeah, that's fun. So it's just like a basic C major key here, but it seems like it's way more complex than that. And maybe that's sort of the mask that he's talking about. Like, in life, sometimes we can get fooled at certain times, and it's all these lessons that we have to learn, that nothing stays the same. Everything always changes. All right, let's keep going.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. Don't wanna be
That
a
descending
richer
line.
man.
Yeah.
Changes.
Turn and face the strain.
Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time.
A little tremolo at the bottom. That was great. And that was a great segue then into the little funky jazzy version there, the section. So the form of this is very unique. It's very segmented. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it all fits together. What I'm starting to notice is that as I keep listening, I'm expecting the next section to show up. And there's sort of some comfort in that. All these changes, you get used to it almost to the point where you're expecting it. But let's just jump ahead a little bit. And I'm also really enjoying his voice. All of the different characters, the roles that he's playing, just in this one song. There are like 4 different voices that he uses. Yeah, that one, the changes. It's really, really high and almost nasally. It's really extroverted.
Strange fascination fascinating me. Our changes are taking the pace I'm going through.
There's that string line again, yeah.
Changes. Ooh, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes.
Yeah, you look out, you rock and rollers. That's definitely a nod to probably stuff that he experienced since launching his career. Mm-hmm. Okay, but there's something really, again, lighthearted and fun about this. Almost like you have to keep a sense of humor about things. Otherwise, things can, get a little too dramatic sometimes. And I don't know, there's something about that piano line that really emotes that. I like how the strings are kind of warbly in the background.
The pace I'm going through. Changes. Changes. Ooh, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes.
That was a fun. Okay.
But I can't trace down.
Yeah, lots of changes there. Okay, and then that's where all of the instruments in the background were just like the band hits, the orchestra hits on his syllables. I like that. I really like that. How they sort of swirl together like, I don't know, we're all the same? I don't know. I don't know how deep to look into Bowie's music and lyrics. To me, it seems like it would just be an onion with lots of layers to peel back, but maybe not. I think it can be what you want it to be. Okay, that was Changes by David Bowie. I'm so glad that I am embarking on this journey with getting to know David Bowie. Because again, my glimpse of him is really weird, just mainly from the soundtrack to the movie The Labyrinth. But he is a voice that has stuck with me through the ages. I just didn't really give him the chance to show me where else that voice was used and how. So I guess better late than never. I do acknowledge that back in 2016, when he passed away, that I kind of took it hard, even though, again, I had my weird little kid magical movie music connection with him only, but I felt it. I felt the lack of his musical presence in the world. That was a hard year. We lost a lot of really good musicians that year, didn't we? So what's next? Actually, I don't remember what came in third on the poll for David Bowie songs, but Space Oddity was the first place, and I am going to do a reaction to it, but it's going to be a deep dive, and I can't wait. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming sometime in the future. But for now, will this song go on my playlist? Yes. Yes, it will. It'll go right next to Magic Dance and Underground. Those are the 2 songs, for instance, that I remember from The Labyrinth. If you know, you know. So thank you to everybody who voted in the poll. You all are helping me finally get to know this musician. And maybe along the way, you all can learn a little something you haven't noticed before too. Okay. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay and keep listening.